My name is Sarah, and I promised myself I would tell this story as truthfully as I lived it. If you've heard about Clara's first day, you already know she walked straight into a storm. But the second day was worse. Cruelty has a way of spreading, like smoke filling every corner. That morning, Clara tried to carry herself with quiet dignity, but the office was waiting for her, and the air was thick with judgment. Clara arrived before most. The lobby was quiet, the marble floors gleaming under the morning lights. She clutched her simple bag close to her side, her shoes clicking softly against the floor. She wanted to prove herself, to show she wasn't fragile, that she could endure. When the elevator doors opened, the silence inside was heavier than the day before. Men in pressed suits and women in high heels avoided eye contact, but Clara felt their glances slide toward her. She lowered her gaze, her reflection in the mirrored walls reminding her of everything she didn't have: designer clothes, confidence, belonging. By the time she reached the 7th floor, whispers had already taken root. Didn't she wear that yesterday? She doesn't even try. Laughter followed, quiet but sharp. Clara walked to her corner desk, sitting carefully, forcing her hands not to tremble. Then came Patricia. She didn't need words. Her smirk alone was enough to set the tone. Clara was beneath them, and the office obeyed. The whispers weren't enough anymore. Cruelty had tasted blood, and it wanted more. That morning, a junior staff member pulled out his phone, angling it as if to scroll through messages. But his lens was aimed at Clara. She sat typing nervously, adjusting her blouse, unaware she was being recorded. Within minutes, the video spread through the office chat. Phones buzzed. Suppressed laughter echoed across the room. The caption was simple, sharp, unforgettable: Corporate Cinderella. Clara felt the weight of eyes on her, but she didn't know why. She thought maybe she had spilled something, maybe she had made a mistake. She smoothed her skirt, checked her papers again, trying to stay composed. The confusion in her expression only fueled their laughter. Patricia noticed. She always noticed. From her doorway she watched Clara and then the glowing phones. Her lips curled into the faintest smile. She didn't stop it. She didn't need to. Her silence was approval. I clenched my fists under the desk. I wanted to speak, to slam the phone shut, to defend her. But I stayed silent. Because silence in that office was safer than truth, and my silence shamed me. Clara worked on, unaware of the video, her every keystroke an act of survival. They thought the hidden camera had stolen her dignity. What they didn't see was that every second she stayed was defiance. Lunchtime arrived. Clara entered the break room quietly, carrying her small paper bag. She chose the farthest table, unwrapped her sandwich, and sat in silence. For a few moments it seemed she might finally have peace. But the door swung open and a group entered, laughter spilling ahead of them. Phones in hand, they gathered like spectators at a cruel show. One pressed play. Clara heard it for the first time, the shaky video of herself, hunched at her desk, captioned with Corporate Cinderella. The laughter was instant, brutal. "Maybe we should start a collection for new clothes," one mocked. "Or give her a fashion stipend," another added. The room roared. Clara froze. Her sandwich remained untouched. Her fingers dug into the edge of the table. Her eyes watered, but she whispered to herself, "Not here. Don't cry here." She pushed her chair back slowly, stood, and left the room. The laughter followed her into the hallway. From the glass walls I saw her reflection. Her eyes were red, her jaw clenched. She looked broken, but she wasn't. That was the moment I realized humiliation wasn't destroying her, it was forging her. The afternoon returned to its rhythm. Phones rang, keyboards clattered, but beneath it all, cruelty lingered. Clara returned to her desk, her face pale, but her shoulders squared. She typed, she filed, she endured, and every move she made was followed by whispers. "She's still here? She must really need this job." Patricia passed by once, pausing only to smirk at Clara. That smirk was worse than words. It gave everyone permission to continue. I sat at my desk, consumed by shame. I wanted to speak, but I didn't. I told myself defending her would only hurt her more, but I knew the truth. My silence protected me, not her, and I hated myself for it. But watching her, I noticed something the others missed. Clara didn't crumble, she didn't lash out, she endured. Every second she stayed was rebellion. Every breath she took at that desk was defiance. They thought they were breaking her. What they were really doing was sharpening her. Late in the day, Clara passed a desk and stopped cold. A phone lay unlocked, the cruel video paused mid-frame. Her face stared back at her, anxious and small, branded with those two words, corporate Cinderella. Her lips parted, but no sound came. For a moment she couldn't breathe, now she knew. The laughter, the whispers, the stares, it all made sense. Her hands trembled at her sides. But then something shifted, she straightened. Her trembling slowed. She pressed her lips into a firm line and turned away. At her corner desk, she packed her few belongings carefully, placed them in her bag, and rose. To others, she looked defeated. But when she passed the glass doors at the exit, her reflection told a different story. Her eyes were red, yes, but behind them burned fire, not the fire of rage, something deeper, resolve. They thought the video had destroyed her. What they didn't realize was that it had awakened her. Humiliation doesn't always end a story. Sometimes it begins one. That was Clara's second day, the day they believed they had won. But it was also the day they lost control. Because when you push someone too far, you don't just wound them, you forge them. What about you? Have you ever been mocked, underestimated, or pushed aside? Share your story in the comments, subscribe for the next chapter, and don't miss what comes next. Karma always keeps its promises.